guys, Mike, your host of Craft Beer Storm. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic that's affecting the brewing industry in a bad way, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for anybody, this virus, just the trickle-down effect, just shutting the global economy down is just wreaked havoc actually on the craft beer world as well, especially smaller breweries. But, we have some stories for you. As the Craft Brewers Conference, the physical conference was canceled, but they're doing stuff online. So they're having a virtual conference, which a lot of conferences that have, shut down or haven't, gathered. They're going online and doing it anyway. So it's a great way to just get people to just focus in on the knowledge. And these stories are brought to you by brewbound.com, by the way, great source of information. But the BA's Bart Watson, who's the chief economist, article, COVID-19, a shock to the system for craft breweries. And I interviewed Bart actually last year at the CBC. If you check out our podcast back from then, and we had a at-length interview with him, which is great. I had him in a room, and we talked about the industry. And pretty much what he said kind of panned out. He was talking about lagers and lighter beers, and that's worked out well. But I guess nobody ever thought about, hey, we're going to have a pandemic the same time next year. Who would have thought that? But the article goes, by most metrics, small and independent craft brewing companies posted solemn volume growth in 2019. However, the disruption caused by COVID-19 pandemic, which has forced many craft brewers into survival mode, is overshadowing the 2019 growth. So we had a good year last year, but this thing is not good, COVID. But in 2019, the BA defined craft brewing companies held 13.6% of the beer industry's market share by volume and accounted for more than a quarter of the industry's dollar sales. So that's huge. That's tremendous. From when I started, it's just been exploding. Back in the, 2012, it just started. And now, 8 years later, we're a quarter of the industry's sales, which is huge. Nevertheless, craft breweries have lost a considerable amount of sales in 2020 as on-premise and on-premise sales were cut off mid-March 2020. That left many craft breweries struggling to survive. According to the BA's second impact survey, 46% of the respondents said that they may be forced to close their doors within the next 3 months if the shutdown continues. These smaller breweries can't survive. They need people to go in, and that's how their model is. That's where the margin is. I keep saying this, and everybody else keeps saying this as well. But Bart has an interesting twist on that. As we read on, asked which breweries might be most at risk of closing, Watson said the smallest breweries are most at risk due to relying on on-site sales and draft production. Respond to a question of how the current turndown compares to the recession that began in late 2007. Watson said beer and alcoholic beverages are not recession-resistant, but not recession-proof. And consumers are likely to continue buying beer, wine, and spirits even after they cut spending elsewhere. In 2009, beer prices have increased while wine and spirit prices have decreased. So that's an interesting fact. Watson also addressed the number of breweries in planning. The BA counted 8,275 in operation in the U.S. in 2019, citing Alcohol and Tobacco Tax Trade Bureau, TTB numbers. He said there are now 11,800 active brewing permits in the U.S., of which he estimated there was around 2,000 breweries in the planning stages. So there's more breweries coming. Watson added that the industry was already moving in a direction similar to the restaurant and bar industries in which locations close and new ones open in their place. So this has created an interesting opportunity for people just waiting in the wings. Breweries that are existing can't get people in, and they're forced to close, and then new ones just buy them at a bargain basement prices, I guess, and just jump in. And there you go. We were already seeing 25% to 30% of breweries that close get a new brewery going in, he said. And that rate may rise over the next few years as people look to get in at a lower price point than they couldn't before. It is very, very expensive to open a brewery, but if this stuff is in place, somebody else put the money in, you can get in at a lower price. Hey, if anybody wants to partner, let me know. I've always wanted to do this. This is an awesome time. Michael at craftbeerstorm.com. Let's talk. Man, that'd be awesome. The way those breweries operate once they open may also change. A flaw in the taproom brewery model, which has been hailed possibly the best way to build a brand and cash flow brewery by selling beer directly to consumers with little to no distribution, was exposed by COVID-19. So, yeah, it's great that you get people in and you can build a nice business, but if the people are not there, your business kind of folds. So you got to balance it with distribution, some type of distribution, so that when stuff like this happens, your eggs are not all in one basket. This is just, it's crazy. Watson said in a post-COVID-19 world, businesses will be forced to consider other revenue streams such as beer-to-go sales and direct-to-consumer sales with limited distribution, either self-distribution or through a wholesaler where legal, as a hedge against future shutdowns. So, I think these states have to be a little bit more lenient with smaller breweries and get more, allow them to get deliver to customers, right? To-go sales, drive up to the curb. Hey, I'm here. Give them a growler. Give them whatever they want, and then they can go. Instead of going to the store, they go straight to the brewery, and then they can get to-go sales. Common thread in off-premise data reporting since the pandemic began is a resurgence of the nation's largest craft brewers' long-declining flagship offerings. This is interesting, too, that haven't grown in months or even years. So everybody was flocking towards local, and all the regional breweries were, suffering because they had these brands. Everybody liked them. They're popular, and then people they want the best new thing, the most local, and then they kind of abandon these things or the sales dropped off. But now, if the local guys aren't open, they go back, they flock back to these. It's interesting. Though it may be easy to assume that troubling times inspire consumers to turn to trusted brands, Watson pointed out that these brands have much wider distribution than their smaller craft counterparts. So the regional breweries are booming, I think, now, right? They got all this production, and I guess it's needed for them. Their sales were declining, but this has kind of turned things around. It's interesting. Since March 9th, off-premise dollar sales in retail such as grocery stores, where shelves are typically stocked with products from major domestic and regional craft brewers, top $3.4 billion, according to market research firm Nielsen. So in a month, they sold $3.4 billion in beer, right? Man, good. That's interesting. Just the whole dynamic, the whole thing. This virus just threw the whole craft beer world into just a spin. But we'll see how it shakes out. I don't know. They're saying this. It's like a bubble. The craft brewing world and the smaller breweries. This might be it. This might be the thing that kind of cleans things out and resets stuff. They said it was coming, but things can't just go up in a steep curve. They got to kind of level off, and maybe this is the leveling off point. But I think we're on the path for growth going forward. Absolutely. Another story: social standards examines possible loss of summer drinking occasions, but increase in virtual happy hours. This is an idea. I just read this. I'm like, I might do one. I think I'm going to do one. Maybe every Friday do a virtual happy hour, and whoever wants to come can come. With summer drinking occasions at risk of being lost due to coronavirus disease, COVID-19, shutting down gatherings at beaches and pools, consumer insights firm Social Standards looked at the potential effects that the loss on beverage alcohol products. The firm analyzed 30 beverage alcohol products whose conversation volume increased more than 10% between the first and third quarter of 2019 in an effort to determine those that may be most vulnerable if social distancing continues. So products on social standards potential most vulnerable list include canned wine, Mexican beer, hard seltzer, rosé, and non-alcoholic offerings. Those least affected by the potential loss of summer gatherings include Malbecs, wheat beer, and craft cider. So I guess people weren't talking about them, so they think that the potential loss will be less for those. But we'll see what happens. Whether these projections become reality are still seen. For example, hard seltzers have maintained their triple-digit dollar sales growth and continued the beer category's growth driver in off-premise retailers during the COVID-19 crisis. That makes sense. Hard seltzers have been booming, crazy growth, and people buy them in stores, so, right? Craft breweries shut down their tap rooms. You can't sell it there, but, the whole hard seltzers have their base in stores, and stores are still open. Just bring your mask, right? They made me put a mask on. I got my ski mask. I put it on, so that's okay. Normally you would walk around with a ski mask, like during this time, like in a store, and people would be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Nobody looked at me. It's the new norm, right? What the hell? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, anyway, according to market research firm Nielsen, hard seltzers increased dollar sales 327%. And gained 2.5 share points during the week ending March 28th, outpacing pre-COVID growth rates. So everybody's focused, I got to go to my store and get some alcohol. So they're getting hard seltzer. Man, that's a juggernaut. As consumers connect to family, friends, and coworkers on platforms such as Google and Zoom, conversations around virtual happy hours have increased 1,505% during March, according to social standards. Winners so far have been wines and whiskeys, but not beer, despite several beer companies turning to virtual happy hours in an effort to engage with consumers. Over-indexing in virtual happy hour conversations are classic cocktails such as martinis, old fashions, as well as spritzes and margaritas. So who is posting to social media about the most about virtual happy hours? Social standards said that there are women ages 30 to 44-year-old in higher income brackets relative to the average beverage alcohol consumer. And these posters also skewed towards urban tech hubs, including San Francisco, Seattle, and Austin. And those are great cities, man. A lot of stuff going on in those cities, especially Austin, Texas. I got to go there. Everybody's Austin. Social standards also examined why people are hosting virtual happy hours. The top reasons are to replace canceled events and stay connected with family, friends, and coworkers. Those events are also over-indexed in relation to supporting local businesses, which indicates that virtual happy hour participants want to support local businesses. And which is a great thing. Support your local businesses. If you can't go there, grab some beer to go and then go online and talk about it. Right? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start one of these on Fridays. Why not? We're all inside anyway. Do a virtual happy hour. I'll grab a beer. You grab a beer, like maybe a local beer. And I'll critique it. And then you guys can critique yours. I think I should do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, so watch out for that. That's coming your way. Hey, if you like what we're doing, what would help me tremendously is if you can go on iTunes, give us a rating and review. I would appreciate it very much. And, if you got any questions, email me, michael@craftbeerstorm.com. I'd be happy to help you any way I can. If you're a brewer, I'll have you on. We'll talk about your brewery. Also, we're doing distillers as well. We've had a number of distillers not coming on because they're craft distillers. That's booming too. It's growing. And what's awesome about them, they're doing sanitizers, right? They're taking old beer from other breweries and they're converting it into sanitizer and they're giving it to hospitals and people who need it, which is a great thing, noble thing, right? Life gives you lemons, you can make a lemonade. That's what I have for you today. I hope you stay safe, you and your families. It's just a horrible thing. Nobody likes it. It's a pandemic. Now, I'm also addressing this. I have another podcast called Crushing Your Fear, and I'm getting people on, pretty much every day. We just talk about, what their thoughts are on it, how to cope with it. We had personal trainers come on. Yeah, they have online personal fitness courses that you can take for free. The medical profession, people talking about that, people's mindset. You need to be positive during this thing, man. Easy to be in depression. You could drink, it's fine, but just don't overindulge. It's just going to make you worse. Got to be healthy too. But love that craft beer. Craft beer is awesome. It's good. Okay. That's what I got for you today. I hope you have a great weekend. All right, we'll talk soon. Take care.